Welcome to the Ausgel podcast, where we bring the gel ball community together. Each week we have a special guest where we talk about what's new in the world of gel ball, be it milsim, speedball, and everything in between. Now, welcome to our host. Hi, I'm Dan from Ausgel.
I'm Brent from Azreals Armoury.
And today we're going to have a chat to the person who introduced me to the sport of gel ball. Right, Brent, first, mate, thank you very much for making the trek up here to be on this podcast. Really appreciate it. Great for people to put a face to the company as well. This one's a little bit special to me because today I'm chatting with Brent here, who is the person who gave me my introduction to the sport. You know, you're the person that brought me out to a field. But let's learn a little bit more about you and the journey that led you to gel ball.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, it all started when I actually was just searching for, and this was a long time ago, so 3.5 years I think it was, searching for a water gun for my son for his birthday. He wanted a water gun. And that's when I saw something like these gel blasters, which are water bead blasters on eBay and things like that. And that's how I kind of got introduced to the blasters themselves. And then it kind of evolved from there. Lee Seabrook, who is, you'd remember.
I remember Seabrook. Lee. Hey, Lee.
He's been around since the very start, and this was back when no one knew what Hopups were. It was just, I was like, what is a Hopup? And that's when he brought one across that he got in from China, and it just fits on your inner barrel. And he said, don't worry about that one there because I cut it too much, the air hole down the bottom, originally, some of my original ones, and he cut it too much with a grinder. And he said, it's too much Hopup now. And I'm like, that's an awesome thing. What if we had been able to adjust that? So that's when I started to get some ideas about Hopups and making my own, designing my own, especially because back then you could only get ones that fit on your inner barrel. I wanted some, and everyone wanted one that you could put on a stock blaster because not everyone, alloy barrels weren't even around back then or much of a thing. So you had to have one that fits on all these various blasters. So I designed some myself using a free Google CAD program and borrowed a 3D printer off a friend because I couldn't afford to buy one, you know. And it kind of just went from there, and I kept on designing new ones for new blasters. Someone would say, can you bring out one for a Mark III and all these different ones and the pistols and the Desert Eagle, and that's kind of how that started as well.
Wow. Because, I mean, that's what a lot of people, I think, wouldn't know about you. So, I mean, Chainsaw, which is what the company was called back then.
That's right.
You were actually known for your hop-ups. That was the special thing.
That's right. And if you look at the original Chainsaw logo, it was just like, the backspin on the logo thing. And that's pretty much all I did for quite some time. But as a bit of a tinkerer, that's what I also did, was modify these things. I couldn't just have a stock blaster with a hop-up. These things had plastic gears and everything. So I was one of the first ones to get in metal gears and things like that. And I developed my own. I got a brushless motor and fitted it to a MKM2. If you remember those blasters back in the day.
Back in the day of the Terminators and all the
early
early
the Terminator
stuff.
Mark 1. That's the one. And I fitted a brushless motor. So that was the first gel blaster brushless motor that I fitted from an RC boat motor into a grip, and I dummied up a control so you could adjust your rate of fire on the side. It's all commonplace these days, just with a gate tighten or something like that. But back then that was unheard of.
Yeah, well, that's it. And mate, as an established industry tech and the owner of an R&D business, what does your normal day look like?
Well, it's changed over the time, as you know, because now I've got quite a few employees now, so I can concentrate more on what, more the innovative side of things, more than just the retail side of things. So my day is pretty much spent on designing. So designing new products, and even during that transition or taking a prototype or just a design, an idea, through to commercialization, it goes through so many different iterations. So
doing it properly, I see there's a patent pending for something more recent.
Correct. Exactly. So we that's an exciting product that we're getting a lot of attention for at the moment because it's something that is quite new. Not only gel blasters, but airsoft as well.
Do you have one of those products here?
I did bring it up here just to show you and everyone.
Excellent. There you go. There's one you prepared earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is it, and this is the what we now call the Apache.
Yep.
And this is essentially a tappetless cylinder head. So what it does is you can take out your tappet plate, take out your return spring that, forever. If you go to a game, every game you go to, someone's like, oh, what's wrong with my blaster? And it's just coming out the end.
Yep.
Return spring's broken.
Yeah.
So this gets rid of that entirely. So you just literally sit it in there.
So you put that on the end of your cylinder and you remove the tappet plate, you remove the spring. There's no need for any of that.
None at all.
Wow.
So, and this just operates just by the first movement of that piston moving. When you pull the trigger, that actually, this is spring-loaded head here, the nozzle. So that the first thing it does is, because this is like an enclosed space in here, so the piston, it moves forward a little bit, this will push that out. So the timing could not be any better. Literally, when your piston moves to fire, the first thing it does is load the gel, and then the piston continues. This is in microseconds. Then it releases the air. Essentially, there's a valve inside. And it moves forward, releases the air forward. So timing. Think about timing. If you're running a crazy setup, I want to get to 80 rounds per second, which is crazy. This will give you the most relaxed time or contracted time as possible. So loading gels.
See, that's good, because I think normally when people start mucking around with their RPS, they have to do things like make adjustments and cutouts to their tappet plate and change the strength of their tappet spring and all these additional things they have to do. Where it looks like this is a bit of an all-in-one solution.
100%. And then if you change it, so say you change a motor or things like that, and you want to have a crazy fast build, but not all the time. Some people want to just go into a mil sim or something like that, so they'll swap the motor out. You can't run a normal tappet, such a fast tappet to do that. So this one enables you to, timing is no longer a problem.
Well, mate, I think you're onto a bit of a winner there. So, I'll be watching that with a lot of anticipation. And I think a lot of people out there will also be watching, not just from Gel Ball as well. So, it should be pretty good. Now, do you have any pro tips for Gel Ballers who want to get into teching?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of pros out there, but I mean, the main thing, and I just looked at Shaka, who works with us and does a lot of builds. And
Shaka's Clackers, is that?
Shaka's Clackers. So, and he got that name because of just how clean it sounds, and there's no, when you get that perfect shim, and you don't hear the noise of the gears turning, you hear
just the clack.
The clack. Right. So that's how that came about, and he got that good. Just from because he literally loves it. Like even now, he'll work all day in the shop doing mods. He'll go home and mod some more. On the weekend, he's modding. Like he's just that's his passion.
It's a good sign of true passion, because you see time and time again, you'll see techs come into the industry. They'll work gel blasters all day, and then they get so sick of it they don't want to do anything at night. But then you come across guys like that periodically who are just doing that all the time.
And it's not just a daily thing. I mean, he's been doing this for quite a while now, so it's something that's stood the time. So obviously it has to be a passion. But and he learnt a lot from actually watching airsoft videos, because they've been doing it for decades. And there's a lot of people out there that live and breathe it a lot more than what we have, until recently. So there's a lot of really good professionals out there that really know what they're talking about. And he was literally watching airsoft teching videos just constantly, and modding and trialing and error, and trying to and from their videos, what sounds the best, and he tried to get his and emulate that in gel blasters.
Oh, good man.
That's what I think can definitely help is taking a page out of the airsoft world and watching some of these true professionals and how they do things, and they freely give away their information on YouTube.
Oh, that's good of him, and it's a really good source for everyone, exactly as you say, and good to know that Shaka has had those humble beginnings where he's learned from others and been able to grow himself into what he is today, which is a well-respected tech. Now, let's learn more about you. So, Brent Alderton. Now, I know that you are very passionate about gel ball, but surely you've got something you like to do outside of gel ball. Do you have any passions outside of this?
Yeah, I like actually hiking. I mean, that's one of the things I've been doing for a long time. I used to do mountaineering for a long time and go around the world doing mountaineering, but I had a really terrible accident. Yeah, I fell like 16 meters to the ground.
Oh, okay.
Was never meant to walk again. So, and even now, you know, you'll see me hobbling around. It's not because of, you know, it's just the old injury. So even since then, recovered from that. And but I still love getting outdoors and away from technology and things like that, because we live and breathe technology. Everyone does these days. It's inescapable.
Yep.
But that's what I like to escape from is, you know, getting out into the rainforest especially. You know, no devices, no noises, just
Gold Coast
nature.
Hinterland's right there, so
My God, right? It's
tracks
amazing. So that's what I love to do.
Excellent. Right, so Brent, tell us about one of your most memorable experiences in gel ball.
One of my most memorable, I think it was, and everyone had a fantastic time, and this is at Nuketown. This is in the, you might have been there, I can't remember, because
my very first field, Nuketown.
Yeah, a lot of fond memories there, so many. But the best and one we can't replicate these days, insurance reasons and things like that.
Yep.
And that was when we actually had everyone with pickup trucks.
Yeah.
And everyone loaded in there. And one of the games was you had to, it was, and the event day was Sicario. So I don't know if you remember Sicario, but they were going through town and they got blockaded, you know, stuck at the border, and they come out. So we did that where everyone was loaded in the back of pickup trucks.
Oh, wow.
And everyone was shooting off the back of pickup trucks, and the other team was in town. And I mean, that was just an awesome experience. They had to set up a blockade somewhere.
Yeah.
And that was just like the most intense when you're bringing everything like vehicles into it. It just made the realism, and everyone was just having a blast. You're pulling people that were hurt back into the truck and get down, you know, in the back of the thing. Yeah. And Joe's truck was awesome for that, because he had the big pickup truck.
I do remember that. Oh, that's cool.
Oh, it was so much fun.
Those days were fantastic. I mean, I remember how nervous I was coming out for my first game. And I'm thinking, okay, I've got a gel blast, but I want to go out and actually get involved in a game. And I remember messaging you on Facebook and sort of saying, hey, I can sort of see that you run games. And I'm sort of nervously asking about them. And then you invited me out to a game, and I thought, okay, I'll go along. But then from the moment I got out there, you sort of welcomed me over, and you're like, hey, come over here, meet this person, meet that person. And everyone was just super welcoming. So, you know, it really was a great icebreaker for me to get out there. And another fun fact, you know, I think it's no secret, everyone knows Ausgel has been pushing speedball for as long as possible. But where I actually got the initial experience of gel ball and that little bit of passion from was Nuketown. It was when you had the 2 lanes where you'd park cars in there and run the speedball games.
That's right.
The very first one, I remember it was one life, 2 teams, one on either side. And I remember coming off of that and going, oh my God, that was incredible. That was so much fun.
I remember that. That was, and we got people's cars, because we didn't have any barriers back then. We didn't have exactly much of a budget back then. So anyone that wanted to donate their vehicles to the field, essentially we just parked it in, and people were just running from one side to the other. And that was initial speedball, Yeah,
it was, And a lot of fun, you know, adrenaline inducing. And
that was the most adrenaline inducing. Because everyone was just running crazy, and everyone come off the field on such a big high. And that's why it became a staple of what we do.
And that's
now.
it. I remember like Googling speedball and just going, oh my God, this is a thing, you know. And it sort of went from there. But really cool times back then. Now, is there anything coming up in the future for Azreal's Armoury that you would be happy to share with us?
Well, we've already covered one, and that's, you know...
the new device?
Yeah, the new device, because and that's more an Aztech thing. So I set up a new company called Aztech Innovations, which is more the R&D and wholesaling side of things, you know, where we do that kind of thing just for new products that we develop. We have got this tapless cylinder head.
Fantastic.
We're developing things and thinking up new things. We're working on something new. It's hard to talk about certain things that are patentable that we're working on, but there's something else coming out.
Like what?
But this is very different, but still usable in a lot of blasters. But it's Takes a lot of time.
Looking forward to hearing about that. So should people be following the Azreals page or the Aztech page to hear about that sort of stuff?
Yeah, we post all of that to Aztech page, but
Cool.
as that more takes its own breaths and become its own thing, then we'll be sharing it only there. But then obviously we share it to the Azreal page, which has got more of a following. But,
great stuff. All right. Well, look, Brent, May, we might wrap it up there. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Absolutely incredible to catch up again after,
walk down memory lane here.
Yeah, definitely was. And mate, can you just tell our viewers how they can find Azreal's Armoury and Aztech?
Yeah, we're just online on Facebook, Azreal's Armoury on Facebook, and Aztech Innovations on Facebook, and also our web pages.
Excellent. All right. And guys, as always, I'm Dan from Ausgel. You can find Ausgel at www.ausgel.com.au. We're across all the socials as Ausgel and on Instagram at AusgelAmmo. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into our podcast. It means a lot to us. If you enjoyed today's podcast, leave a comment or review below and hit the follow or subscribe button. If you have any questions or want to be part of a future episode or even want to know more about Ausgel, head to ausgel.com.au to get in touch.